Morning, everyone.
Good
Let's
morning.
all raise our voices and sing our joy song. We'll find it projected on the wall. Sunday morning. Welcome to Valley Community Church. Is there anyone new with us today? We have a visitor's packet for you. Have you already gotten one? Just a reminder to silence your cell phones. Today, our guest musician is Julie. And our reader is Kathy Tomlinson.
Pam was supposed to do this today. She can't quite breathe through it, so she picked this out. Getting through the discomfort. Surrender to the pain, then leave to surrender to the good. It's there, and more is on the way. Our goal in healing is to make ourselves feel comfortable, peaceful, content, happy. We want to be at peace with ourselves and our environment. Sometimes to do that, we need to be willing to face, feel, and get through discomfort. I'm not talking here about being addicted to misery and pain. I'm not talking about creating unnecessary pain. I'm talking about the legitimate discomfort we sometimes need to feel as we heal. When we have surgery, the pain hurts most the day after the operation. When we do the kind of work we are facing in healing, we are doing an emotional, mental, and spiritual surgery on ourselves. We're removing parts of us that are infected and inflamed. Sometimes the process hurts. We are strong enough to survive discomfort and temporary feelings of emotional pain. Once we are willing to face and feel our discomfort and pain, we are almost to the point of release. Today I am willing to face my discomfort. Treating that healing and release are on the other side. Help me, God, to be open to feel whatever I need to feel to be healed and healthy. While I am doing this, I will trust that I am cared for and protected by myself, my friends, and my higher power and the universe. That's Melanie Beatty.
Our opening hymn today will be number 35. We'll wait just a minute. Thank you. We'll sing number 35, O Little Town of Bethlehem. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, and 3. It's number 35, verses 1, 2, and 3.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Well, today, I lit the candle. Today we're celebrating the first Sunday of Advent. And that's that time of the year, that season of the year where we expectantly await the nativity scene, the birth of Christ. And today's candle I lit was the candle of hope. And in coming weeks, the candles of faith, joy, life, in Christ will be the forthcoming weeks. And I wanted to share with you a little poem I saw this week. It deals with hope. And it's not by a renowned author, it's by an amateur. But it's so simple that I really, really like it. And I beg for y'all to let me share it with you. Hope is a feather floating in the bright sky. Hope is that sparkle that shines in your eyes. Hope is a butterfly fluttering in the wind. Hope is good times spent with family and friends. Hope is a newborn baby's cry. Hope is a mother's lullaby. Hope is God's rainbow after a rain. Hope is the harvest of golden grain. Hope is the light that keeps darkness at bay. Hope is the breeze on a hot summer's day. Hope is ever present and free of cost. Hope is the last thing ever lost. Hope is staying positive when the going gets tough. Hope is seeing God when you feel you've had enough. Hope is recovering from simmering sorrow. Hope is believing in a brighter tomorrow. Yes, hope, hope. That thing that we lose last is hope. Well, let's celebrate this day of hope by reciting with me the statement of beings that you'll find in your orders of service. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all, perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Yes. Now is that wondrous time in our service when we have our healing meditation. If you can find yourself getting comfortable in your seat, relaxing a bit. I'm going to do something a little different this morning, if you'll allow me and if you'll participate with me. When we come to that 90 seconds of silence, I'd like to extend it to 3 to 4 minutes. And I won't speak so much or talk so much. I just invite you to go deep within and talk to God your own way. As we become comfortable in our seats, we breathe this deep, deep, beautiful air, this fall air. I'm mindful that I have read where even a molecule from the days of Caesar we might be breathing now. We might be breathing a molecule that even John the Baptist had breathed, or Jesus himself. Breathe deeply. Take this healing breath inward. If you wish, spend this next 3 to 4 minutes in prayer, in meditation, thanking God for all that we have, and I invite you to do that now. now. Return gently, gently back to this room, to this day. And know that where two or more gathered in His name, He is there. The omnipresence of God is here. And in this stillness that we experienced, hearts were touched, lives were changed. And it is so. Thank you, dear God. Amen. And while we have our prayer for nature, we recite the Lord's Prayer with me now. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Well, I hope everyone had a good holiday Thanksgiving weekend. It was great being off work, too, wasn't it? I want to take you on a little road trip with me now, if you will, for just a few moments. We're going to travel down the road together. And we're driving in the car and probably talking with each other, and all of a sudden we notice the wind picking up. And the clouds in the distance are getting a little darker and billowing a little bit more. And as we drive on a little bit more, we notice that the wind is picking up even more, and we can see the rain clouds coming in. And then we can see it start raining and the wind really picking up. And if we look to the right outside the car window, we can see that field where the 4 or 5 horses are. And if you look at them, you'll note that the horses, when the wind blows and the rain blows, they all turn and face into the wind, into the rain. That's what horses do when the storm comes. They face the wind, they face the rain. What do we do when the storms come into our lives? How do we react? Do we face into the wind? In 2003, in the city of San Francisco, the city fathers decided to give the go-ahead for a new residential high-rise to be built. It was going to be called the Millennial Towers. And it was going to be the tallest building west of the Mississippi. It's going to be 58 stories tall. So in 2003, they gave the okay. Construction started in 2005. And they spent like $600-some million, these New York developers. It was a very pricey condo residential area to live in. And the units sold between $2 million on the bottom floors up to $5 million on the medium floors, and the penthouse sold for $13 million. Pretty pricey real estate. And it did go 58 stories high. And in 2016, they discovered that the building had already sunk 17 inches. And its leaning were tilting 6 inches at the top. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a story 58 stories high, paid $13 million and had my building tilting 6 inches already and sinking 17 inches into the earth. I just don't want to do that. And so there's suit after suit after suit. You know, the developers are suing the builders, and the builders are suing the city code, and the engineers are getting sued. Everyone is being sued. It's still sinking. Now, when they built the building, the engineers said, well, we will allow for a 5 to 6 inch settling, sinking, over a 100-year period. But it's already sunk 17 inches. Matter of fact, one tenant recently, he paid $2.5 million for his condo unit, and he moved out. He took half his money. He said, I'll just take anybody that wants to pay me. I'm just not going to live here. So he lost 50% of his investment. Now, one of the reasons, or probably the primary reason, that the building is sinking like it is, city code at that time said all you have to do is put pilings in 80 feet deep. That's all you have to do. Down into the sand and the mud. Now in San Francisco, if you were to go and take a shovel and dig up some of the streets, you would find that right up under the pavement is the debris from the 1906 earthquake. They never cleaned it up. All they did was pave it over. So all that crumpled concrete and all those destroyed buildings are just below the surface. And if you go 80 feet down, you'll find the sand and the mud that they said you could put your pilings into. If they had gone 200 feet down, you come to bedrock. That's where they should have put the pilings down. There wouldn't be a question of the building sinking now, would it? The bedrock, where you turn to in the storm, you turn to the bedrock. And I don't know what they're going to do with it. Millennial Towers, that's up for the courts, but I certainly wouldn't want to live there. In Mark 4, speaking about storms and bedrock, Jesus was teaching, and he had grown tired, and he was weary. And he said to the apostles, let's get in this boat and we'll go across the Sea of Galilee. Now we all know the Sea of Galilee really is just a freshwater lake, do we not? A lot of fishing. Anyway, he said, let's go across, we'll get in this boat, we'll go across the Sea of Galilee. We need to go to the other side. I need to rest. And so he took all the apostles with him, and he was resting on a cushion at the rear of the boat. And the winds picked up. The storm came. Well, I'm going to leave him right there for just a second. Come with me. In 1986, two Israelite brothers, fishermen, on the northwest corner of the Sea of Galilee, there had been a drought in the Sea of Galilee, in that area. And they came across a submerged boat. And they thought, well, this looks different. This looks different. So they called the Israel Antiquities people. And they came and they looked at it and said, oh, me. This is a wonderful boat, years old. So they took them 12 days to get the boat out of the water. And then they took the boat and sank it in a solution of water and chemicals for 10 years to keep it from rotting away. And then they did carbon dated it. And it's this boat, they call it the Galilee boat or the Jesus boat, dates right to that period. They don't attribute it to the boat Jesus was on, but it's exactly like he would have been on in that day or that night traveling across the Sea of Galilee. It's carbon dated between 80 BC and 50 AD, give or take 30, 40 years. So it would be right in that era, right in that period, the Jesus boat. Now the Jesus boat is only 27 feet long. It's 7.5 feet wide. So that means like a pro basketball player could almost lay lengthwise in it and be a little cramped. And the sides of the boat are only 4 feet. And it's made to be in shallow water also. It's got a shallow hull to it so they can get up close to the bank and fish. So it's a pretty unstable boat to start out with. 27 feet long, you've got 12 people in it, plus Jesus, that's 13, and I don't know who else was in there. Well, the boat has already got a lot of people in there. And it's already probably setting in the water kind of low. And then you've got this storm coming up. And the water starts coming over the sides. And the apostles get scared. You know, they're fishermen, but they're scared. They say, wake up, teacher, wake up. We're all going to drown. We're perishing. Wake up. How could you sleep through this? And Jesus awakens. And this is what he does. He stands up. He faces into the wind and he says, be still, be calm. That's the bedrock. Be still, be calm. When the storms come, be still, be calm. In Luke 10, Jesus was leaving Jerusalem. He was going into Bethany. And the sisters, Martha and Mary, met him and said, Jesus, come visit our house for a little while. They were the sisters of Lazarus. And he knew them well, so he came into their household. Now, Martha went straight into the kitchen probably and started busying herself. Mary, she sat near Jesus. And I can almost hear Martha in there busying herself, making something for everyone to drink. And she's probably talking to herself like, how come when everything happens, I'm always in the kitchen? Why is it I'm always doing everything? Mary doesn't do anything. Why is it always me? And she's probably blowing up in her mind going, you know, when it's time to get the groceries, who gets the groceries? I do. It's always me. And I've done a load of groceries. And who goes to the market and gets everything? It's always me. Mary doesn't do anything around here. It's always me. You see, Martha had a storm within her. She had a storm within her. And what did Jesus say? Well, he didn't say this in so many words, be still, be calm. But you can infer that. And then here's what he said. He said, Martha, Mary is doing exactly as she should. What's that? Mary's doing exactly as she should. She's listening. She's engaging me. She's making me feel comfortable in the house. Be still. Be calm. That's the bedrock. Some of you might know this name, Dave Dillard. In March 1968, Dave was a soldier. He was 17 years old. He enlisted in the Army. He was in Vietnam. He was in a company, they called themselves the Delta Company. They were 80 strong. And they were led by who they called the old man, a captain. The old man was really just 25 years old. Well, this is right after the Tet Offensive. And they were chasing the North Vietnamese back into the jungles. And they were going to Laos. And they were trying to hit them off. And they were deep, as I say, into the jungle, 80 strong. Dave was the RTO, radio telegraph operator, the RTO, very important position. He's the man who stays at the hip of the captain. He doesn't leave the captain's side. He sometimes even cooks for him. He serves as his bodyguard. He's his mouthpiece. He stays in contact with chain of command and headquarters. He's the RTO. So he's right with the captain. And they're going through this thicket jungle in Vietnam. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. The canopy's real thick. He said everyone is sweating. And all of a sudden they hear a rooster crow. And they stop. And then the men on point, they say they see someone carrying 2 water buckets. They drop the water buckets and they run. See, you don't hear roosters or chickens in the jungle in Vietnam. Often the enemy carried their roosters and their chickens and their pigs with them. So they knew they were making contact with the enemy. Dave said all of a sudden, withering fire came. Fire like he's never seen before, bullets flying everywhere, machine gun fire everywhere, RPGs flying, grenades flying. Within 15 minutes, 5 men were dead, 20 men were wounded. And he was trying to get these forces together, and the captain looked at the RTO, looked at David, and said, go back and tell the others to go that back trail, and get out of here and try to get help. Well, the others, they went back to the main body of the group and said to the others, go get help, go to the back trail. The enemy had already followed that. They had an ambush set up on the back trail. 5 more dead, 10 more wounded. That withering fire came all again. The RPGs were flying everywhere. And so all they could do was gather the wounded. It was now 30 wounded, 10 dead, half their force is gone. And Dave said he was sort of in the middle of the two groups, and all of a sudden he saw something brown go across his eyesight, land about 10 feet from him, and then exploded. And the concussion blew him back. And when he came to, he realized he was still alive. He wasn't hurt. And everyone is still fighting and bullets whizzing, but he couldn't hear anything. He lost his hearing. He was out of the fight, but yet he was still in the fight. And the captain, the old man, ran up to him, and he could tell what he was saying. He was saying, take it easy, take it easy. So he sort of sat there for a moment, and slowly his hearing came back. 30 wounded, 10 dead. And the captain issued an order. He said, get all the wounded together. We'll make a circle around them. It's getting towards nightfall now. We'll make a circle around them. Take all your hand grenades and put them in the circle. And he gave the order, do not fire back. Do not return fire. Be still. Be calm. Do not fire back. You see, it's getting night, and we won't give our position away if we fire back. So this group of soldiers surrounded their wounded, and every now and then they would lob a grenade out, trying to keep the enemy away from them. And they said that the enemy got so close to them they could see from the muzzle flashes the facial features on the enemy. It was that close, that early. But not one man returned fire. Be still, be calm. Dave said, I've never seen such bravery and heroism in my whole life. These wounded men, the medics attending to them, not one man cried out. Everyone stayed still and calm. But somehow the enemy gave up and left about 5:30 in the morning. When they realized that they were going to live, they all broke down crying. They were then able to call in the helicopters to take the wounded out. This took some time. And then they had to go out and bring back their own dead. They did. They put them right where the wounded had been and called the helicopters in. They took them out. And as every infantryman knows, the last thing you do is you have to go out and search the enemy dead for intelligence papers or whatever. And they did, and what they found was, and they always found, were diaries, pictures of mothers, sisters, girlfriends, even pets. And Dave said right then, I know they're just like us. Just like us. Well, fresh troops came and relieved our little torn up platoon. We went back to headquarters, to our bivouac. Shortly thereafter, Dave was discharged from the Army. And when he got back home, people said, "What did you get? What did you get?" You see, the old man, the captain, had gotten the Congressional Medal of Honor for keeping them all alive by going, "Be still, be calm." "What did you get, Dave? What did you get?" He said, "I got to come home. I got to come home and see my mom and dad. I got to come home and fall in love and get married. I got to come home and have 2 children. I got to come home and have a ranch in Texas with a pond, fish and geese. I got to come home because we were, be still, be calm." A couple weeks ago, I ran across an article. In a paragraph there, I don't know it verbatim, I'm just going to share it with you, sort of what my take on it was. A ship sails in the water, but the water is not supposed to be within the ship. And we live within the world, but the world is not supposed to live within us. And when the storms come, the storm is not supposed to be within us. Be still. Be calm. In Matthew 28, Jesus said, when the storms come, "I will always be with you. I will never forsake you. I will be with you to the end of the world." Be still. Be calm. Will you go with me now? Dear God, thank you for your messages to us. Help us live our lives a little more calm, a little more peaceful, a little more loving. Thank you for this wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. And we look forward to the next weekends of joy, life, faith in Christ. And it is so. Amen. Amen.
Now's the time in our service for the blessing of the gifts. You'll find it in your orders of service. Hold your offering in your hand and let's say together, today I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jan.
Okay, I'll try to make these short. I always say that and they go long. So next Saturday we will be decorating the church for Christmas. We'll be here at 10 o'clock. We always have a good time with that. Hope you bring them, Edwin, and so we can have some kids here. Anyhow, but 10 o'clock, if anybody wants to go to breakfast before or after, we'll be willing to do that also. But come help us decorate the Christmas tree in the inside of the church. Martha and I put up wreaths yesterday outside. kind of gotten the spirit already. So thank you, Martha. Also, the people that helped donate the 20 dozen cookies for the service last Thursday, we really do appreciate it. We had way too many cookies. We weren't the only church that they asked to bring cookies, so they had lots of cookies left over and they passed them all out. But I do appreciate everybody making the cookies and bringing them, so nobody went hungry, that's for sure. We had a Thanksgiving dinner here, Thanksgiving Day, and I wasn't here, but I understand everybody had a wonderful time and good food, so that will be on the list to do next year since everybody seemed to enjoy it. And, so we'll do it, put it back and have next Thanksgiving. Let's see, and December the 9th is going to be our Christmas party. We'll be talking about that again next week, so you get prepared for that. If you haven't told us you'll come and let us know, because we have to make some preparations for that. So the events committee has a lot to plan for you. So anyhow, just let us know if you're planning on coming. Doesn't mean that you can't come, or you will, we're not going to allow you to come if whatever, but we just kind of like to have a number of who's coming to that. Also this year, instead of like last year, for Christmas, we took a family from Oak Grove, and we're doing an ongoing basis with a snack pack for them. But last year, we took a family and bought gifts for them. This year, instead of that, we are going to, we've got 2 bins, one in the front, one in the back. There are 300 and some children in Roanoke City that are homeless. And they've asked that we donate some goods that they need. So there's a list, and I'm going to have Nancy put in orders of service for next week. I'll be collecting probably through the middle of December, and then I'll take it down to the Roanoke City schools and let them distribute it. But sometimes we forget about these children that they have no place to stay other than a shelter, or sometimes not even that. So we decided to do that this year. So anyhow, anything that you can help with that, would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I think that's all I have for today. So we're going to sing a hymn, and then after that, before we do the prayer, we have one other thing that's going on. So we'll announce that afterwards.
Our final hymn will be number 33, We Three Kings, and we're going to sing verses 1, 2, and 5. Number 33, We Three Kings, we'll sing verses 1, 2, and 5.
Oh
everybody just sit down for a second, and Rick's going to, he's going to play a song for us today, because he doesn't do that very often by himself. So.
Well, is there any further introduction by anybody in the house? Clue anybody in on why we're doing this song?
Do you want to, Cynthia?
Oh, it's for a very special person whose birthday is this week. Limo, Laurel, my name. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's only 6 pages.